Efforts to find a lasting solution to the migrant crisis in the Mediterranean continue. Nigeria's foreign minister has announced that the government is starting flights to evacuate all Nigerian citizens willing to return home. Speaking in the Libyan capital, Tripoli, the minister Geoffrey Onyema added that 2 planes will be arriving soon to move up to 800 Nigerians back home. Nigerians have recently been mentioned as one of the largest number of nationalities caught up in the dangerous journeys to Europe. Most of them end up in detention centers in Libya. Over 5,500 of them are expected to be flown back home in the latest efforts. However, Onyema added that the fragile security on the ground makes it hard to ascertain the exact number of Nigerians stuck in Libya.
Our president has made available all the resources necessary to repatriate all the Nigerians here. When we came, we were working around a figure of about 5,500. But the question of numbers has become a bit problematic. So we're going to be working together with the Libyan authorities and the International Organization of Migration to really get precise number.
Well, let's now get more details from CGTN's Deji Badmus. He's joining us live with more from Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos. Deji, the evacuations from Libya were scheduled to commence Sunday. Did they take off? What do we know? What's the latest on that front?
Well, Beatrice, we understand it actually took off. Unfortunately, this time, the migrants are not landing. The plane is actually not landing in Lagos. Before now, what had been the practice since the IOM began the process last year, the plane had always landed in Lagos. But this time, now that the federal government has taken over, they have decided to take it to Port Harcourt. So we understand the first batch of migrants actually landed around 11 a.m. today, and more are still being expected. But this whole idea of taking the reception center now for the migrants to Port Harcourt, we understand, is definitely going to pose some logistics problems. The government has not explained why it decided to move it away from Lagos to Port Harcourt. But what we understand is that it even took organizations like IOM by surprise, and that they've been asked to make arrangement and fly down to Port Harcourt. So no doubt there are going to be logistics challenges because this information was not properly conveyed. But what we can tell you is that the first set of migrants have actually landed in Nigeria. Beatrice?
Well, so what exactly now happens to the migrants once they arrive back in Nigeria, considering that many of the economic factors that led them to seek an exit from Nigeria still remain?
Well, first is, let's not forget what some of these migrants have actually gone through. There's no doubt that even if things are tough at home, it's always better to stay at home rather than go through the kind of harrowing and traumatic experience that some of them have had to go through. Now, usually the process is that as soon as they land at the reception center, they are processed. They're actually profiled and processed by the Nigerian immigration authorities. Of course, IOM will also be on ground. After this processing, they are now handed over to their various states, because usually the various states now send their officials there to pick up their own migrants. Migrants from different states. So these various states will come pick up their own migrants and take them to their various states. For instance, one state that has the majority of migrants we've seen so far is Edo State in the south of the country. They've been very diligent with coming to pick up their migrants. So we expect that officials of that state will be there. So basically, after their process, they are sent to their various states. And now the various states have their own reintegration and rehabilitation program. In the case of Edo State, for instance, when they get to their states, they are kept in a hotel for like 3 days, and then they begin this reintegration program and rehabilitation program. And after the whole exercise, the state government actually gives them something like a stipend. For 3 months, they are placed on a stipend, and after that, they are now provided with what we understand, they're provided with seed money to set up their own enterprise. And that, of course, is being coordinated by IOM. We also know that the European Union is also funding this. So that has been the way, that's the way it's been done, and we expect that that process will continue. Beatrice?
Right, Deji Badmus joining us there from Lagos.